At the Waterline, Stories from the Columbia River by Brian K. Friesen. For Larissa, George, and Hannibal. One version of the story told along the Columbia River takes place in the early 1970s. A young man in his late teens had a death wish and tried to launch off Hayden Island at 100 miles per hour on a motorcycle, sailing over the river with the vague but supposedly calculated plan to land on a wide stack of hay bales on the Washington shore. Afternoon wind pushed him straight down into the water, where the spangles and flags dangling from his leather outfit tangled with the handlebars and pulled him to the river bottom. The current carried him far enough downstream they never found the motorcycle, or the body that had been fused to it, until, over the years, it eventually became a knotted mass of twisted metal and bones. Salmon would find shelter there, inside the exhaust pipes, inside the rib cage, inside the skull. Of course, this scenario is highly unlikely. A version that emerged when Evel Knievel and his many impersonators were all the rage. An older version of the story, according to local Oregonian lore, involves a train carrying a shipment of early motorized bikes and crossing the river on its way to Seattle for a showcase. A young thief who had stolen away on the train unstrapped one of the bikes and tried to ride it off the flatbed car as it crossed the interstate bridge. A gust of wind blew him off balance, and he and the motorcycle sailed over the edge. The straps from the flatbed wound into the bike's rear wheel and wrapped him tightly to the warming, spluttering machine on its way down to the water. Currents eddied in his lungs, in his ears, played in his hair. Wilder currents wore the flesh off his bones. By the turn of the 21st century, the story featured a young man who had strapped his motorcycle to the shrouds of his sailboat, so wherever he made landfall, he could ride into an unfamiliar sunset. Some say he committed suicide by riding off the boat deck and into the river. Others say he tried to jump the bike from his sailboat onto another nearby. They say he would have made it, too, if not for the wind that picks up most afternoons on the river. Most versions of the tale carry a message about taunting the gods who made the Columbia, and who still blow wind across it. The bones of the tale are always there in the telling, but some details of the scene vary according to the times and trends in which they are told. One consistent theme is the foolish delinquent who defies the laws of nature and society, the adrenaline-fueled Icarus of each era, always ending up in the depths as a set of bones on a bike. Judgment for transgressing boundaries, punishment for too much passion. The wind always finds its way through the cracks and into the story. Wind plays at the surface, flowing against the current, whipping the water into waves, creating the appearance of a river returning upstream. If you raise a sheet of canvas into the air to catch some of that wind, you'll throw yourself at the mercy of forces you cannot predict, but might eventually learn to read.